Good afternoon. We're at the 1:30 p.m. hour on this Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. I'm Sylvia Tucker out of Kankakee, Illinois. And I have contacted Illinois State University in Normal, Illinois, my alma mater, about my dissertation, Magic at the Grove of Closed Longfellow School, Ancient Eilat and Petra. So I have given a dissertation, and I am looking for conferring of my doctorate degree in psychology or sociology. I don't prefer it in philosophy or religion. I give my life lesson. I give to you personal account as a witness of what took place at Longfellow Elementary School in Kankakee, Illinois. I became a transfer student from Kankakee School District number 111, Steuben Elementary School, which was not a perfect school, over to Longfellow Elementary School. It was then that unusual and strange occurrences were seen. This was also taking place in the community. We lived on North Indiana Avenue, and there were terrifying incidents that occurred. Very early age, things began to happen that were very terrorizing, and I believe that they have had an impact on life on today. So where did those students go that were in Kankakee School District number 111? We were to have a documentary made that did not take place. So I just want to go back and I want to give an account. I want to give history of the things that take place in this community. I believe that we have ancient civilization that's here in Kankakee, Illinois. I will personally testify that I saw a giant out in front of our school at Longfellow Elementary School. I cried for periods of time. The church did get notified that it was taking place, that it happened. And I did not want to go to an ancient civilization to live with a giant that said my name, knew who I was, and was going to come back and remove me to be with him somewhere else. So there are facts that show that Petra has tombs of giants. Eilat. When the word Eilat is spoken, it can be so close to being said Eilat as in I, then L-E-T. But I believe it has secret meaning and that it is associated with the police being in a serious situation with others, having contact with police that's very negative, and it is also used to block progress. And that occurred to me at Longfellow School. So I go on to talk about classmates that at recess time did things under that grove tree. That grove tree was a problem. And I give the scripture of Jacob in the Bible, wanting God to make it safe, that if he would make it safe for him in his journey and bring him back to his father's house, that he would serve God, that he would be his God. So then the almond tree is being spoken of, and I believe the trees had to be made safe. One particular time at recess, I last saw those two, a white male, a white female, under the grove tree. They did not return to class. And when my teacher asked, well, where are they? I just happened to tell them that was the last time that they were seen. Last time I saw them, they were not seen again. I make mention of another classmate, a white male, that had red hair. He described himself as being cursed. He vanished in thin air in the school building. He was never seen again. So I go on to talk about ancient being in reference to what's old, what's outdated, what's antique, elders. And I go on to talk about our church. Go on to speak of an usher that had an unusual dark feature. His wife was dark, but somehow they produced light-skinned kids. He said it was in the bloodline. Nobody actually questioned what he meant when he said it was in the bloodline. I go on to mention a member of that congregation that was anointed to play the drums became enlisted in the military, the Marines. Somehow, the state of Indiana lost him The Bible talks about darkness and feet stumbling over a mountain, and he entered what was called new time order. I talk about the secret password the pilots can fly using the word ed. It opens up into another kingdom, which is Satan's army, Satan's kingdom. I talk about these being the times that I first learned about new time order, but I live in a community where it hasn't changed. We can change Route 50 from being new time order. It just has not changed from being new time order. I go on to talk about by high school, those classmates, misguided, a Black female that was told to go to an earlier ancient civilization, and she did just that. Her parents allowed her to vanish. Classmates, the white classmates, told her to vanish, and she vanished to a different age period. When you leave this world, you don't come back to this world. So her coming back would be like her touching the image of someone to be here, but that's not her. That's something else that would come back. I looked at the image of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I looked at the image. We have traffic that's going by. Ernest Hemingway. And for some reason, I believe that that's exactly what took place. Ernest Longfellow, in a book written by him, or something that represents him, used the word that they had been spilled. I see it as being killed, vanished to something else, and coming into this world, this age, I see what could be classified as Ernest Hemingway. So I go on and I talk about perhaps the John F. Kennedy upper grade center, it was called, it's now middle grade, is probably the sister school to Longfellow Elementary School. Some people don't want me to ever have anything. You see the harassment that's taking place. I talk about that. And I believe that became the sister school. And somehow the cook that left Longfellow Elementary School went on to Kennedy School, vanished. At that particular time, I was a student at Illinois State University. I go on to mention in my defense, I started defending myself, that Downers Grove, Illinois had a Longfellow school. Whittier is the sister school to it. Longfellow School became closed in 2022. The state of Iowa mentions that oak trees had to be demolished. 16 housing units were built in order to make the neighborhood safer. Our Longfellow Elementary School became closed, permanently closed, to make the neighborhood safer. But how much safer did it become? I talk about if I had to film the documentary, what steps that I would take to film the documentary. I go back, I wrote being attacked by the powers of darkness. And I talk about things that were terrifying in my life growing up. At some point, I could not remember my childhood. And I would have an ambulance that arrives to the hospital, show the admission, what it takes to admit someone into your mental health unit, what a day would be in the mental health unit, the groups that are in the mental health unit. Show those people. And I have the book, and I have this that I call the script, and I would just give the narration to it, and that would be the documentary to it. Sylvia out of Kankakee, Illinois.